Let's get into this. The circus. Jake Paul on Showtime. These guys made a lot of money. We don't know how much. It would be really nice if they would release and tell us what they did, what they got. It would help a lot. If Jake Paul really cares about fixing MMA and helping out with MMA, he would disclose pay and let us know everything about their pay. The reason we're in the situation anyways that he's even paying attention to what we're doing is because of the class action lawsuit. If we didn't have the class action lawsuit, there wouldn't have been discovery. We wouldn't have got their financials. We wouldn't know how much they're really making, how much they're stealing from the fighters. We wouldn't know. It would not have happened. None of this would have been possible without the Mixed Martial Arts Fighters Association and that lawsuit. Never would have happened. We're the reason. The reason he's talking about it, the reason it's in Jake Paul's mind is because we made it visible for him to see. He'll use association and union in the same sentence. So I don't even think he knows the difference between the two. He wants to start his own. We've had one that's been around for 10 years. Why haven't he reached out? He hasn't reached out at all. That's why I'm very suspect with any intentions he might have. He's probably secretly working with Dana White. Scumbags. There's a lot of scumbags out there. Who knows? Well, we get to the card, and we got to see Uriah Hall box. That was kind of cool. He seemed a little bit flat, and I don't know. He just didn't pull the trigger that much. It could have been because Levon Bell, that he fought, was really athletic and pretty fast, and he was just kind of being extra cautious in a new sport because he's not a boxer, I guess. I can see that. But, he did all right. We'll see if he decides to do another one of these type of things. Was it Silva beat Rodriguez, right? First round, the 18-year-old. But that guy threw that fight. That seemed fake. That seems super fake. He got hit a little bit in the chin, and then it seemed like he's like, oh, I got hit, and decided to jump on the ground. And then when he was down on the ground, like he starts pounding on the ground. Well, that's a cognitive action. Like he was cognitively capable of controlling a body part. He gets up and he's like, oh, I'm all woozy. Oh, I think that guy was faking. That was fake. He was not that messed up. He either didn't want to fight or he was supposed to lose that fight. The uppercut, the guy hit him with the hook and then tried to go with the uppercut, and the uppercut didn't really even make contact or flush contact. The guy just kind of jumped to the ground, and he's like, no, and hits the ground, pounds the ground. Like, what are you doing? And then he waits until the guy gets to 8, and he gets up and then pretends to stumble, and then he's like all woozy acting, didn't look real. And then as soon as the guy calls it off, he's like, what? Oh, and then he's like, he's not woozy anymore. He's walking normal. Everything's fine. That was fake. I don't know if that fight was rigged or if that guy got paid to take a dive or he just wanted to take a quick payday because he was an old guy and wanted to be on TV in a big fight once. That was terrible. That stole for me. That stole from the moment because that kid was fun. He came out as the Minions. He was doing fun stuff. He looked fun to watch. Like he was exciting. I'd like to watch him box some more. That seemed like a very fake ending. It seemed fake. Going into the main event, Jake Paul and Anderson Silva. It was fun. There was action. There was back and forth. If we look at the card, I don't know if this is the official scorecard because it's just one. It doesn't say whose it is, but it's 10-8 round. So Paul won round 1, 3, 7, and 8. And Silva won 2, 4, 5, 6. But he lost because the 2-point swing from the knockdown. If he just would have lost the round, it would have been a draw. But he got knocked down, right? He got knocked down. So that knockdown made it a Paul win. So going from the fight I just talked about, where that guy's knockout antics looked really sketchy. He looked like he was not a very good actor. He was not a good actor. And I've been around fighting long enough. I've seen enough guys get hit, get knocked out, get rocked. I've seen it enough times to know what it looks like when a guy's not there, right? When a guy's there, he's not all there and he wants to fight. When he's not all there and he doesn't want to fight. I know what that looks like. I also know what it looks like when the guy's fine and doesn't want to fight. I've seen the guys who just, they get into the cage and that's it. That's enough. They made it that far. Like, bro, I can't believe I made it all the way from the dressing room down the aisle and I'm in the cage. I'm standing here in the cage. Wow. I don't want to do this. I've seen it. I know what that looks like. I just don't buy it with that second to last fight. And then we go into the Silva fight. He seemed like he was pacing in the first round, which I don't blame him for. You know, it was a longer fight and he's not normally a boxer, even though he's been boxing for a little bit. I feel like he wasn't letting go of the combos. He played, he started showboating for a little bit. Maybe he got tired. I don't know. Maybe he slowed down, but he just wasn't throwing the combos the same. He wasn't countering the same. And it wasn't like Jake Paul had a lot of attacks. He doesn't have a lot of attacks. He doesn't throw uppercuts hardly at all. He doesn't throw the body shot. He doesn't hardly hit the body shot unless it's a straight shot. He throws the jab, maybe he throws a straight right, or he doesn't even throw a straight right. He throws that hook curveball right. He doesn't have a large variety of weapons at all. He's only going to throw a couple things. And you're telling me Anderson Silva couldn't have prepared to throw that left hand, which is the perfect time. He's throwing a looping right hand. You're telling me Anderson Silva couldn't have prepared for that, to land that left hand, straight left hand, as he's throwing that looping punch the way he did? And he telegraphs it a lot. He's telegraphing that overhand punch. Anderson Silva couldn't pick that up and knock him out with that. He couldn't land an uppercut at that time. What about his check hook? He couldn't have done that. I feel like Anderson Silva that I know could have figured that out just first time meeting somebody, first time sparring with somebody, picking up on those type of things. If I can kind of do that with somebody who only has a few punches, I'm pretty sure Anderson Silva can. It's questionable to me why he didn't. I really don't. It's not sitting with me well. And then he gets knocked down. That knockdown. Did you guys see the video of the supposed knockdown? It's interesting. Well, here we go. Did you see it? Did you see that? It doesn't quite look like a clean hit. There, and then his head doesn't snap back. I know it could be a little bit hard to see because you got the black glove, there's a black background. Quality of the video isn't great, but that doesn't look like a very hard, solid contact. Does it? I don't know, man. This seems questionable. Guys. I don't know. And that was the deciding factor. That's the thing that won the fight. If he doesn't knock him down right then, he loses the fight. He loses because even if he doesn't knock him down there, it's a draw. He draws or loses. Yeah, Topher. Yeah, kind of. Maybe Topher saying maybe it just skimmed his nose. Possibly, I could see that, but it doesn't look skimming the nose. Or even if he did catch cheek and nose, I don't feel like that. It doesn't seem like his head snapped or it was enough to like drop him. You think maybe he just fell off balance? It wasn't even really a knockdown. It was just off balance because it grazed him. Maybe. I don't know, man. Fishy. I smell fish. Spidey sense saying it's clearly a fix. Silva gets a big payday and Paul keeps his wins going. A business arrangement. Yes. And it could be some more dirty pool. Okay. Because now Anderson's supposed to help Jake Paul with his association stuff. I kind of think Paul might be a plant. He might be a UFC plant. He might be a area manual plant. He might be with WME plant. He might be working for them in order to trick the fighters into joining his stupid UFC union that locks them into a monopoly, kills the lawsuits, kills Ali Act, kills everything, and perpetually makes them slaves. Like, oh, we'll have collective bargaining. I'm like, you lose a fight, they just get rid of the guys who don't say what they want and do what they want. You ask the wrong questions, they give you the worst fight possible on the worst night, worst imaginable place. Do whatever they can to get you to lose. Oh, you lose? Sorry, we're canceling your contract. We're letting you go because you lost. There's nothing you can do to stop them. That's how it's done. You're going to take away their ability. You have no leverage. You have absolutely no leverage to force them into anything. You have no leverage. You can't negotiate if you have no leverage. It's impossible. Danny Arnold saying he totally threw the fight. Rematch. That's it. I thought they were going to have a draw. I was like, this is probably going to be a draw. They're going to do a draw. And then they're going to make a rematch. That's what's going to happen. But then I saw that little thingy, little nose wipe that saved the day. The most powerful nose wipe in the world. Here's an interesting statement, and I'd like to talk about this. Hamza Mir is saying Silva is ruining his legacy. I spelled running, but I'm sure that's what you meant. No, he's not. No one cares. No one cares. No one cares. Seriously. Does anybody care that Arlovsky lost another fight? Do you care? Does that take away anything from what Arlovsky did and his champion or his championship fights? What about Frank Mir? Do you not think of Frank Mir as a great fighter anymore because he got beat up in some boxing stuff and some other things? There used to be a time when this stuff, I think, did ruin a career. It did kind of leave a bad taste. Ali fighting too long. But end of the day, where we're at right now, I don't think anybody cares. We've erased meritocracy. Meritocracy is gone, at least in the fighting sports. I think anywhere, because everything's so fake now. Everything's so fake. Everything. Every single thing is fake. Everything. No one cares about what's real. A lot of people look down on and hate the people who overachieve and are successful and are good. So I think people are more comfortable with losers and they rejoice degeneracy and the loser stuff. So I don't know if it's even possible if you can ruin your legacy. I don't know if it's possible anymore. I feel like maybe things will change. Maybe things will push in a different direction. Culturally, I get this feeling like nobody cares. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, when's the last time Conor won a fight? And look how people still treat him and think he's the greatest. Because it's pro wrestling, right? Because it's pro wrestling. And if it's pro wrestling, like how many matches did Hulk Hogan lose in his pro wrestling career? Did Ric Flair ruin the legacy of Ric Flair by doing another match? He did another match like a year ago. Like he had to use his walker to go out to the ring. It was a walker match. They blew it. It should have been a walker match that they had. But did that ruin his legacy? I think it's where we're at. It's a pro wrestling entertainment environment. And I don't know if getting beat up and losing hurts that nowadays. I really don't. It's sad. Hamza again says, Anderson Silva is the greatest fighter of all time, and he won't get his props in 3 years' time. That's everybody, man, because also with society today, it's what have you done for me lately? Who are you now? Like things move fast. You kind of have to accept that. And I'm not saying it's good. I'm just seeing observations because I've thought about this too. Because I've thought about, hey, what if I get into some of the circus stuff? What if I try to get into some circus stuff? I'm like, well, do I really want to like mess up my legacy, like my legendary career and all the things that I've achieved and earned? I was like, do I really lose them if I go do a boxing match or if I do a bare knuckle match? Is that really gone? Because like honestly, what has legacy been doing for me? It's not really paying bills. What is legacy doing for some guys? You get stopped sometimes by older fans and get pictures taken. It's cool. You meet a lot of cool people, but it doesn't exactly pay. Doesn't exactly pay. I don't know, man. I've given that some thought. I've given that a lot of thought about legacy and whether or not it would, because I think about that. Think about pro wrestling. Think about how many matches those guys have, how much they traveled around, how many times they won and lost, how many times Hacksaw Jim Duggan lost, how many times Jake the Snake lost. Did it matter? No, because it's whatever. It's pro wrestling. It's entertainment. If MMA is just entertainment, then it doesn't matter. But that sucks because how good you are doesn't matter. There's no hierarchy. The hierarchy isn't skill based. The hierarchy is entertainment based. How popular are you? Maybe you're funny in the cage when you fight and you do funny stuff, but you lose all the time and they let you keep fighting just because people watch. I think that's kind of a big issue with the fact that MMA is not a legitimate sport. It does not have free agency. You're not wrong. Everybody who liked MMA and knew about it and was really passionate about it around that 2005, 2010 time period, they don't watch it all anymore. And they kind of hate watching it. Like I love fights. I love the violence. I love watching the fights, the techniques, the physicality. It's great. It's awesome. If I'm going to watch a sport, that's what I want to watch. I want to watch combat. I want to watch kickboxing. I want to watch boxing. I want to watch Muay Thai, MMA. Let's do it. I want to watch it. I don't care if I know their names. I'd rather watch the guys that get a lot of wins and have a lot of great things happen. It's just, they're just not the same. And I think a lot of it is that I feel like promoters don't promote anymore. Promoters don't promote. And they're either laundering money, and that's how they're making their money because it's not through eyeballs, or they're just keep taking on investors. They just keep taking on investors. They keep getting new money from the outside. And if that's the problem, if that's what's happening, isn't it possible that at some point that the vacuum's going to happen and everything's going to collapse? Oh, man. Spidey Sense chiming in saying modern movies are garbage. I hear that. Modern music is garbage. I hear that. Modern comedy is garbage. Yes, again. And modern sport is becoming garbage. It's all about what can sell. If you don't move the needle, then you are binned. You're not wrong. It's not about meritocracy anymore. It's about who makes the owners the most money by any means necessary. I had a talk with, you're right there, Brian T. Brian T says, fighting is now the entertainment business and it sucks for fight fans. 100% correct. This is the thing why I love the Russians the most. Hamza Mir is saying that I respect Dagestani fighters being MMA fighters and not clowns like the others. 100%. I really appreciate them in the space, quite honestly. They're killers, absolute killers, and they're not playing this stupid show game.